folks, welcome to CGC Sawmill. My name is Cliff, and today, well, let's go through this. So I was told by my wife and my son that there's a big thing on YouTube of opening boxes, right? So I was like, what? You watch somebody open a box, but they said don't open it until you get a chance to show you opening it on YouTube. So I did open one of the boxes. I have two boxes. I did open one of them, and because I wanted to put it together, get a little bit farther along in the process. So what we have is I have over here, I have some Ripper37 blades in a box, so I will open that up and we'll look at those Ripper37's, and hopefully they're going to give me a little bit more longevity on my cutting of my hardwoods. We'll see how that goes. I'll give you a report back on that after a while to see how they compare to the Lennox blades that I've been buying. And then we also, I purchased a green laser from China, $26. It was 100 milliwatt. It already had the optics in it to make it a line laser. So I've been putting that together to make it so it's, turn it on, turn it off, and I'm trying to do it with pieces of wood that I can attach to the mill and see how that works. So we're going to go through that right now, just trying to attach that today, and then we're going to make a beam out of this large log here, this long log right here. So we'll make a 16-foot, 16.6 inch 8 by, I think I want 4.5 by 8 beam, 16 feet long. So that's what we're going to do in today's episode. If you want to follow along, I'd greatly appreciate it. Definitely comment, definitely like. Well, if you like it, and I'd love some subscriptions. It's going to help me be able to do more of these videos. Boy, it is a cold one out today. It is snowing 1 minute, and then the sun comes out, and then it's raining, and then it goes back to snow. So, good day to be undercover. Alright, let's get started with this. Okay, these Ripper37's come all coiled up. Looks like there's 2 per row. And you can definitely see they have been heat treated on those teeth much farther down, right? Well, at least they're blackened, right? So I'm assuming they're heat treated farther down into the blade. You can see them. So it looks like they're all coiled up. They just have a zip tie on them on one side. Cut that, and definitely want to wear gloves when you're undoing this. I imagine they are sharp. I can feel them with the thumb. They'll cut you open quick, so you want to be careful how you unreel them. But that's the Ripper37's. We will, right now I've got a Lennox blade on there that I've resharpened once, and last time I was using it, it was pretty sharp, and yeah, she's still pretty sharp. But what I'm milling is ash, northern white ash is what I guess they call it, and it is harder than any oak, and I'd say it's comparable with hickory as far as hardness goes. So definitely go through a lot of blades. So the second thing I purchased was a green laser. It is a 100 milliwatt green laser, and it has the optics in it for the line, and it was $26. I had to probably wait 2 or 3 weeks for it to be delivered from China, but much cheaper than those couple $100 ones or $100 ones, and they're only typically like 50 milliwatts. So this one said it's 100 milliwatts. We will see how bright it is. When this green laser came in, it came in with a connector on the end of it. So reading online, the interior of that, your little pole that's in there, that is your positive, and of course your outer part there is your negative, right? So I needed to find a connector to go to that because I didn't know what connector it was. It just says a standard connector online. So I went into our old computers and all of our cabling and stuff, and just happened to find one that actually matched up with that. So it plugged right in, and so I cut off the little transformer that was on it. That was, 110 to 12 volt transformer on it. So I just cut that off, and then I had just a piece of wire with this connector on the end of it. And then what I could do is I figured out which wire in this cable was the interior, and that would be my positive, and the one connected to this was my negative. And I just used an ohm meter, stuck it in the center of that, and then put it against one of the wires. If I got to 0 ohms, I knew that wire was to the center, which would be my positive. And I touched this outside one and touched the other wire just to make sure that I was getting correct reading, and got the 0 ohms on that. So we knew that we had the right positive wire and the right negative wire. And then I purchased a 5 volt, or it's a 12 volt, which is what is on the mill. There's a 12 volt battery on there. And 12 volt to 5 volt converter, because this laser needs 5 volts. I think it said it takes about 250 milliamps, so it's not a lot of current, but that's what it takes to run that. So that's why I bought this little guy. I think that was like $10 on Amazon. And then my son had a Tago switch. My 2 boys have their own little construction company or remodeling company, so he happened to have one of these laying around, so I grabbed that, and I just cut out some plates and drilled some holes in some plates, and actually wedged that in there so that it would stay fixed to this, so that there's no wiggle when I switch the switch. So then I just took a block, well, you can see I took that block of wood, and I kind of corded out in there so that I could run the positive side over into this switch, right? So one's on one pole, one's on the other pole. So I just bored all that out and connected those 2 wires to it. And how this works, so these 2 wires, well, let's go through this first. So let's go through this is my 12 volt to 5 volt converter, right? So this is my positive to the 12 volt. This is my negative to the 12 volt. This is my positive going to the 5 volt side of it, and that's my negative going to the 5 volt side of it. So what I want to do, just like if you're doing electrical outlet switch, right, you want to run your positive to your switch. So I ran that positive over, drilled a little hole in there, ran that to one terminal, and then I have this green wire here that I ran to the other terminal. So that will be my positive going to my battery. And then on the other side, this black one here, I just soldered that onto this white wire, because these were short leads on here. So I soldered that to that white wire, put some heat shrink on it, and that white wire now we'll go to the negative side of our battery. So we have our hook up here to our 12 volt coming in, right? The positive side of it goes through the switch. The negative side of it just goes right into this converter. And then on the other side, we have our positive, which is going to go to our laser, which I soldered onto and heat shrinked onto what I had labeled the positive wire on this guy here, on this plug, right? And then the same thing, the black one was the negative, and I just soldered that onto the negative side of this plug so that I can plug this right into the laser, and we should be able to run right off the battery. If anybody has any questions about this setup, definitely send me some comments. I can help you through that. I can maybe even give you a little bit of a diagram. Alright, so with this little contraption I put together. I figured I wanted to keep it so you have the head here that is on everything, and this raises up and down, right? So if I attach to the main frame, now I've got to have extra wiring that's got to be able to go up and down with it. So I found a nice spot right here where this block could set, and it's not in a bad position, so I can actually just reach through here and switch my switch on and off, or if I'm over here to the side, I can just reach down and flip my switch on and off. So there's these two bolts that come out here. I just matched them up and drilled some holes in there so that they will fit right in there, snug. And then this happened to have a hole right there, so I'll put a screw in there, and I may actually drill one more hole over in that so that that stays attached pretty well. I'll have to see how all this works once I get it together, rather the rattling and shaking of the motor and cutting, rather things start to come loose. And maybe what I'll do eventually is maybe I'll make a little plastic cover to go over it. Who knows? That has an opening that I can just open up and reach in there and hit the switch. See, but anyways, see, so we have our positive and negative here that are our wires to go over our battery. We can just run those right over to the battery. I'll have to solder on some little connectors on the end of these wires to connect to the battery terminals. Right, we can do that, and then I've got my plug right here. It's on the other side. This little plug that can run down here, and we will probably just, probably for now, I'll probably just duct tape the wire up here, just so it doesn't run loose. I'll probably make a little duct tape right here, and it'll just maybe plug in right in this area, and the laser will set, of course, on the front there. So I'm going to see how that works. I don't think I'm going to do that today. It is cold. So I think for today, we're going to actually, maybe I'll just set this up for a second and actually shine it. Maybe I'll set it up here. We'll zip tie it on there, or I'll throw a screw in there and just see how that shines down through there. Hi folks, we're back the next day. We got a snow shower that was going sideways, and decided to wrap it up for the day, and me and the wife were going to see a comedy show, an improv show last night, so I didn't come back out and finish up what I was doing. But this morning I came out and just ended up attaching this onto the front of the mill here. But like I said, I put some duct tape on here. We ran our wires over to our battery and connected up to our battery. So put that battery cover on. We'll grab that laser and put it on and see what we see. See how this switch works, right? So we've got the green laser on, and we turn on and off the switch. Looks good. So we got the laser plugged in now, right here, and we've got her turned on, and you can see the green light that it projects across there, and it seems to go all the way across. And let's see, so it's gonna set somewhere in this area, even with the blade. As you can see a pretty good line there. You can definitely distinguish the line down on that far bunk as well. So it should be good. Now we got to figure out a mount for mounting it onto here. I'll have to work on that, but today I'm going to get this beam milled up. You can see it shines down the distance of the log. I don't know if that's as bright as I thought it would be. It's kind of overcast, somewhat sunny in here, but I can definitely see it. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera. It Definitely goes all the way down the wall. Okay, so we got the 8 side on this, and you can see because of that crook, one side is definitely more than another, but I got my 4.5 here, so I'll be able to get my 4.5 just barely there. So when I turn it over, I'm gonna have to, saw until this point, and then saw until this point, and then I'll have my 8 by 4.5. So I just had an issue. You can see how my saw is not cutting properly. This is just bone dry, right? This wood's been down and dead for years, right? So it is bone dry, and I just kept on trying to add water to it, and it wouldn't add water. I'd get part way down and the water would stop trickling, and the lubrication was bad, so it was not cutting well. So I was trying to fix this. I could not get the water to come out properly, so I ended up having to take this whole piece out of there, and there was a whole bunch of stuff jammed up in here. I had to push my finger up in there and flush it out of there. I don't know if it's coming in through this tube. Maybe I'll put an elbow on that tube. I'm not sure how all that junk got in there, but we'll have to figure out how it's getting in there and solve that problem. Okay, a lot better on that run. Definitely cut a lot smoother through the wood, but you can still see it. I mean, that dust in here is a little moist now, but it's still, I could add some more water to it when I'm running. It's just so dry, this wood is. That's the problem with ash, with ash. It's a tough wood to cut. I imagine if it's fresh down, maybe it's a lot easier to cut than if it's been seasoning for years. So I'm gonna open that wide up, that valve, and just let it go and see what happens. Maybe it'll be too much water and then I'll start slipping on my belt. Alright, so we got my wife out here recording first time, and this will be fun if she gets more time to be able to do this. So what we have here is I really soaked I put the water to it. That cut really heavy. Was doing a 2-inch board, and if you see, there's a lot of bow, a lot of stress in that ash wood. It has lots of stress in it, so it does this probably 80% of the time. It does that bow, especially on a 16-footer. But it cut fairly well. I put a lot of extra water into it, and you can see how wet it is. It's just sopping wet. So blade didn't slip, and we put a lot of water in it. So that is our beam, 4.5 by 8. Just a little bit of bark left on the edge there, if you want to show them that.
Yep.
So just a touch there, but it's 16. I think it's 16.6. 16 feet, 7.5 inches. Alright, gotta pull that beam off. So, get our rolling system here. leave it right there. Next time I'm down with the tractor, I just pick it up, take it over to my beam pile, over to the beam pile. Okay folks, that's going to end it for today. We went through setting up the green laser. We made a beam that's over here, and we've got my wife out here filming me for the first time. This is awesome. So we made a 4.5 by 8 beam by 16 feet 7 inches long. So out of that one log we got that beam. We got two 2x8s 8 foot long. And then we also have 1x 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 1x. So you got 10 1x out of that as well. They vary from about 8 inches wide to down to 5 inches wide on those 1x. And they're pretty clean. Some of them do, some of them aren't full 8 foot because they have some stuff on them, so this will be a 6 foot section of it. But we got the green laser, we got the electronics set up on that, and all we have to do is get a mount for the laser now and attach it to the front of the mill. So we just plug that in, get our on off switch right here, turn it on. And where is she? So there's the beam. It's not as bright as I thought it would be, but it's bright enough. I can see it. Alright, so I guess that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. And give me a thumbs up. My wife is signaling to me, and subscribe. And what?
Thanks for watching.
Oh, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.